Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Nathan Simcoe, an undergrad meteorology student at Iowa State University, doing a forecast for Central Illinois on behalf of the Iowa Environmental Mesonet. Let's go ahead and get right into this because we have a lot to talk about. This is a gigantic winter storm. I think that's the best way that I can possibly put this. It's a three-headed beast. The scope of this is unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this. I think in 2020 or 2021 early, maybe in February, we had a big winter storm similar to this. That was really big in Texas. It took out a lot of power. I'm expecting kind of a similar situation. It's not quite as south, but this is going to be a huge winter storm. And yep, like I said, three-headed, heavy snow, ice, and very, very hazardous travel, especially because this is going over states that don't have very good equipment or very good funding for it because they don't get a lot of this where they are. But it is worthy to note that we are for Central Illinois. I think for a majority of the snowfall that we're going to be dealing with, we're still about anywhere between 48 and 70 hours away from this. So track and the heaviest axis of snow is still very much in question. And along with any winter storm, wherever the heaviest bands are, or wherever the heaviest snow, wherever the heaviest accumulations will be. But here is that the scope of this in pink there, winter storm warnings that have already been issued. The National Weather Service in St. Louis a few hours ago went ahead and issued winter storm warnings for Fayette County, which happens to be I would consider in Central Illinois. You could make a case for some other ones down there as well, but the National Weather Service in Lincoln expanded winter storm watches up to the Interstate 72 corridor plus Danville on I-74 and Champaign. Those are all places that they think have a good chance of exceeding winter storm warning criteria at this point, which in our case is greater than 5 inches. Once you get north of McLean County, then it's 6 inches. But at the moment, they're pretty confident along and south of I-72 of that happening. I would say that there's a fairly good chance that that is going to happen along I-74. So places like Peoria, Tazewell County, McLean County, that's kind of the battle zone, and we're really tracking that high pressure to see where exactly that is going to go. But let's just go ahead and switch over. Let's pull up Pivotal Weather, give them their credit. They do a great job here. This is the European model. And I got the view kind of along the south because that's what we're dealing with. I usually go, include portions of Iowa, Wisconsin, but not dealing with much in terms of snow with this system. But here we go. So this is kind of in the afternoon on Saturday. Remember, this is the one solution of this winter storm. So right now you got light snow showers in this like light blue color, heavier in portions of northern Tennessee and through Kentucky. The notice as we kind of go along, it's kind of a two-phase system. I think that I don't think the European model is doing a great job. I think there will definitely be a lull in here, without any precipitation. I mean, I'm not going to rule out like some snow showers like it's depicting, but the heavy snow, and look at this ice and sleet. I mean, that has been super consistent on this. Arkansas, Tennessee, southern Oklahoma, northern Texas, they look like they could get a half inch of ice in certain spots, maybe even more than that. So crippling ice possible, but snow on the northern flank. And as we progress into late Saturday, early Sunday, now we're into the Sunday hours. Notice that now we're finally starting to see that heavy snow on the backside into portions of central Illinois. Notice how it starts to hug kind of east central Illinois and kind of south of I-72, and that's the area that's currently under a winter storm watch. It's a long duration event, and it pulls out of here near Sunday evening. These models, I think, have the snow hanging around a little too long. I think it'll be out of here by 3-4 o'clock on Sunday at the very, very latest. So how much snow is this European model saying? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at that. So kind of I'll split it up into rounds. So this first round of snow is that initial burst. And in that initial burst, it's been pretty consistent on between a dusting for most people to 2 or 3 inches. So that is what I'm expecting with that first burst. Now, with the second burst is when you start to pick it up. Now, this is overdone. I do not believe that anybody is getting more than 14 inches of snow out of this. 18 in Oklahoma, let's just say that I'll die on that hill. If it happens, then I'll raise my hand and say that's my mistake. I don't see it. And the reason I don't see it is because I don't think the snowfall rates are there. I don't think there's enough moisture. It's a large, broad, spread out moisture event. I don't think it's very concise. I don't think we're going to have super heavy bands. Where those heavy bands will be, though, will be on the southern edge, right wherever that 500 millibar temperature influx or warm nose is. Just to the north of that is where the heaviest snow bands are likely to set up. So places like Louisville, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Ohio, Columbus, Indiana, Carbondale, Illinois, down into Joplin, Missouri. This sort of line down here, I think, in southern Illinois, northern Kentucky, this area, I call it the Ohio River Valley, whatever you want to say. That is the area that will probably pick up 10 to 14 inches of snow at this point, I would say is pretty likely. But further to the north is very much a question, and to the south, you're dealing with a lot of ice. So that's one solution. I want to take another look. Let's go ahead and take a look just for all out. GFS is coming out now. I probably should have waited to do this video after, but that's fine. Let's take a look at the. This is a new model by the Weather Service, the RRFS. It's a prototype. It's supposed to replace the NAM this time next year. I think it's a pretty decent model. It's done pretty good on these winter storm solutions so far. Let's see what this one's suggesting. So, kind of similar point here. So, in on Saturday, look at this initial burst. I think this is probably more realistic than the broad snow showers, but kind of heavy snow on the northern side. And then that's when the second burst this, by the way, says we're basically going to get nothing from that first round, which I could totally see. And the second round is extremely high. And look at how far north they have the sleet freezing rain line. Like, it encroaches into like Carbondale, Columbus, Indiana. So that gives us a lot more snow. I'm not even going to show how much snow it gives us because I don't think it's correct. Honestly, I think this is too far north. However, I like the lull in this. I think that if you move this model maybe 50 miles south, I think that's probably going to be the most realistic forecast. So those are the two models that I'm going to show for this. And then I do just want to quickly show that the national blend of models, it's weighted. Now we have some high-res models, so I'm going to just go ahead and show what this is showing. So, yeah, I mean, I think it does a pretty good job. This is about what we've been saying. I-72 south, good chance of getting 5 inches of snow. And notice where the heaviest is. It's right along that line that we've been talking about. I really like that forecast, and that's pretty much why in my forecast that I'll show you right now, it's basically the same thing. I kind of favor Eastern Illinois as opposed to Western Illinois. I think that's the only difference. They're more parallel. I think there's going to be a more easternly slant, if you will. But that's about it. So places like Lincoln, Watseka, down to Pittsfield, portions south and east, 5 to 9 inches of snow. That's a pretty good snowstorm. Like I said, once you get north of I-72 or let's say north of the Taylorville, Decatur, Champaign, and Danville, north of there, I'm leaning towards 5 to 6. Once you get south of there, I think a half foot, 7 inches. Let's say 5 to 7, and then south of there, I think 7 plus is pretty likely. So Taylorville, Carlinville, Mattoon, Shelbyville, Litchfield, south of there, 7 to 9 inches likely. And then once you get south of 70, all bets are off. 9 to 12 inches. South of there, further, I could see, like I said, a foot of snow up to maybe 14, 15 inches of snow, not in the offing. But I think this is a pretty big winter storm. Kind of came out of nowhere. It's been on our radar for a while. It kind of had been hugging the Alabamas, Mississippi, Georgias, and over the last few days, the northern trend has brought central Illinois back into the game, if you will. So this is a pretty big deal. First big snow since November in central Illinois. Some portions, I think Chatham got around a foot of snow. I think there had been some isolated 5, 6 inches from another event that happened in December. But overall, this will be a pretty good clip of snow. And then on the backside of this, extremely cold temperatures. So kind of Christmas in that region, early January, we had been like at 60 degrees. So we had gotten a nice break from winter. But fortunately enough for all you snow lovers, it's on its way back.